Hello everyone, welcome to the demo class for this course, Scientific Data Handling and Processing. My name is Killian Murphy, and I will be during the course of the 10 weeks for in understanding of the scientific methods, acquiring, understanding, and processing this data are key into. In this demo class, I aim to give you some context as to who I am, how I got to the time for the question at the end. So let's dive in. I'm a research ecologist focused on understanding wildlife and how we can optimize our shared code. To do this, we collect many types of data from state-of-the-art tools, satellites, and then analyze the data with statistical modeling. I was trained as an undergraduate in Trinity. Finally, a research model to examine different how this manages strategy, techniques, and software used. After graduating, I spent 2 years working in industry, 1 year as a consultant ecologist, and Ireland and New Zealand. This experience gave me insight into how companies collect and analyze their data, the software and techniques, skills gaps which are inherent within it. This course is focused on preparing you for the job market and analyzing these key. During my time in New Zealand, for example, I demonstrated how simple linear modeling could provide insight into the accident rate of maritime vessels in New Zealand. These skills will also be covered in the coming. I am now based in University College Dublin, where I initially joined as research assistant to analyze data on deer coyote population, evidence-based management, gas extractors operating habitats. I then transitioned into a full-time PhD program, evidence-based, created data-driven risk profile here and agricultural. During this course, I'll be teaching you these skills required to succeed in academia and in industry, methods and software and data. It may seem strange that an ecologist teaches data science, but in fact, ecology is a very data-intensive field. We use data from many different sources. Quantitative ecology is the field of ecology which data science methods to understand why animals do and how they will respond to change. This experience is not restricted to ecology, and these skills are transferred to sectors. That is the beauty of data. If you understand the methods and software for analyzing data on wolves, swap it to wolves in many different sectors, with why customers select certain products and predicting what products to buy based on. Today's brief demo class, we will be covering the content of the course, how the course is structured, how the course will be assessed, and the specific learning objectives and the application opportunities. In this course, I aim to equip students to build foundational skills to turn data into knowledge. This begins with understanding what data is, where it comes from. Then, students will learn to compile different variables, different varieties of data into databases they can analyze, test hypotheses, and experiments on. Finally, students will learn how to report their findings so that they disseminate their analysis to a wider audience, essential for both academic and industrial. At the core of science lies a problem-solving approach called the scientific method. The scientific method has 5 basic steps plus a feedback step. The scientific method is used in all types of science, including chemistry, biology, and psychology. Scientists in these fields ask different questions and perform tests. However, they use the same core approach to find answers that are logical and supportive. Let's work through a simple example to understand how this works in practice. This is called the failure to toast experiment. So at breakfast, you're toasting the toaster, and after several minutes, you notice that your bread is not toasted. This is your observation. Next, you need to ask a question. For example, why didn't the toaster? Then you need to design a hypothesis using research. A hypothesis is not necessarily the right explanation. Instead, it's a possible explanation that we can test to see if it is correct. Or if we need to make a new hypothesis, so to test the first one. So, our hypothesis is the wall socket isn't delivering power. So if we make a prediction against the hypothesis, So for example, if I change the wall socket, the toaster will work. Then we can collect some experiments, then we can collect some data and design an experiment, such as testing 5 different wall sockets randomly throughout the house. If the toaster works on all 5, you are likely correct, and the wall socket is broken as opposed to the toaster. If not, you need to go back and get a new hypothesis. Just like the toaster experiment, in order to test hypotheses and collect data, you need to understand the principles of experimental design. There are 3 basic principles behind any experimental design. Randomization, the random allocation of treatments to the experimental unit. Randomize to avoid confounding between treatments and other effects, such as replication. Repetition allows quantify the natural variation between experimental units. Increase accuracy of estimated effects. For example, if we test the effect of salt water on seed germination with 1 seed and 1 treatment of salt water and the seed dies, can we be 100% certain that this wasn't a fluke? Or are we more confident that the salt water blocks seed germination? However, we would be more confident if we did this with 1,000 seeds and 6 different levels of salt. Sure. We also need to control noise. By controlling as much of the conditions as possible within the experiment, we can control the amount of noise within the data. When we design an experiment, we want to capture data from variables that we are interested in. However, we may also capture a lot of meaningless information. We call this noise. Data is any piece of information that is captured from an observation. Traditionally, data will be collected as part of an experiment or a survey and analysed before being archived. But since the dawn of computer technology and smartphone technology, we have entered into the world of big data. Now data is created by the nanosecond using high-tech frequency sensors and the internet, but also by us. Something as simple as using a fitness tracking app or even taking a photograph is generating data which may someday be useful to science. There are many different forms of data, and this course aims to help you understand the most important types and how we classify them. In this course, we'll be using mainly numeric data to answer the questions for our research projects. Data collection is a systematic process of gathering observations or measurements. Whether you are performing research for business, government, or academic purposes, data collection allows you to gain first-hand knowledge and original insights into your research problem. Before you start the process of data collection, you will need to identify exactly what you want to achieve. This goes back to our research question and flows into our hypothesis and experimental design, which we have covered briefly. We will be learning how to identify important variables, learning about quantitative and qualitative data collection methods, and we will be learning the foundations of building a database and understanding the facets and structure of these databases so that when we move into our analysis, we will be able to manipulate the data as needed and operate within any size database. In this course, you will be introduced to OR. You will master the basics of this widely used open source language, including factors, lists, and data frames. And then we will be moving on to a simple analysis in your research projects. With the knowledge gained in this course, you'll be ready to undertake your very own data analysis on any type of database. Oracle have estimated that over 2 million OR users worldwide since 2012, cementing OR as a world-leading programming language in statistics and data science. Every year, the number of OR users grows by about 40%, and an increasing number of organizations are using it in their day-to-day activities. This course will allow you to get comfortable with OR with a friendly and hands-on approach, allowing you to take control of your learning and expand upon completion. To give our students a choice, we will be offering classes in both OR and Python. Learning Python gives the programmer a wide variety of career paths to choose from. Python is an open source programming language that is used in web programming, data science, artificial intelligence, and many other scientific applications. Learning Python allows the programmer to focus on solving problems, rather than focusing on syntax. Its relative size and simplified syntax gives it an edge over other languages like Java and C++, yet the abundance of libraries gives it the power to accomplish great things. We will also be giving an introduction to the Jupyter Labs, which is an essential tool in any data scientist toolkit in today's workforce, allowing for collaborative and reproducible analysis. Much of science does not exist within a lab and therefore needs to be studied in context. For this reason, we will be offering a class on GIS technology using open source software in QGIS. A geographic information system, GIS, is designed to store, retrieve, manage, display, and analyze all types of geographic and spatial data. GIS software lets you produce maps and other graphic displays of geographic information for analysis and presentation. We'll be learning how to create and collect data from real-life locations and expand upon this data from other sources, such as satellites and sensors, to allow these factors and how they affect our research. This will be a key skill for anyone going into industry across many sectors and is essential for natural science research, from geology to zoology. Throughout this course, we will offer students training in other applications specific to their own research and how they choose their project, depending on how they progress through the initial programming training. Examples of this software include simple simulation models using agent-based model software, for example, NetLogo, and new agent-based model software in Julia. Data visualization is the graphical representation of information and data. By using visual elements like charts, graphs, and maps, data viz tools provide an accessible way to see and understand trends and outliers and patterns in the data. In the world of big data, data visualization tools and technology are essential to analyze massive amounts of information and make data-driven decisions. Our eyes are drawn to colors and patterns. We quickly identify red from blue, squares from circles. Our culture is visual, including everything from art and entertainment to advertisements on television and in movies. Data visualization is another form of visual art that grabs our interest and keeps our eyes on the message that when we see a chart, we quickly see the trends and outliers. If we see something, we internalize it quickly. It's storytelling with a purpose. And if you've ever stared at a massive analysis spreadsheet of data and couldn't see a trend, you know how much more effective a visualization can be. We will be using data visualization for data exploration at the beginning of our projects and for data dissemination at the end of our projects. Data visualization helps to tell stories by curating data into a form that is much easier to understand, highlighting the trends and telling the story we want to tell. A good visualization removes the noise from the data and highlights the useful information. It's impossible to think of a professional industry that doesn't benefit from making data more understandable. Every STEM field, government agency, and IT company benefits from understanding data. This is useful in government, finance, marketing, history, consumer goods, service industries, education, sports, and many, many more. Finally, we will learn the art of scientific writing. Scientific writing is not writing about science. It is the technical writing that scientists do to communicate their research to others. Scientific writing is predicated on the rigors of scientific inquiry, so it must reflect the same precision as that is demanded in the research project, in the research process. Scientific communication demands precision, the precise use of words and phrases, clarity, and economy of language. This distinction is an important one because the writer is communicating highly technical information to others who might or might not be as knowledgeable as the writer. They may be from different discipline, they may or may not be a native speaker of the language used. If you can't clearly, concisely, and logically communicate how you collected and analyzed your data, it doesn't matter how groundbreaking your research is. Readers won't understand it and will be justifiably question your results. However, if you explain your work, you'll be understood by more people and your research will have greater impact. So the course is going to take place over 10 weeks, with approximately 2 hours of lectures per week, where we will cover the topics explained throughout this demo class in more detail. To supplement this, we will also run a 1-hour group work class during the week, where you can work on your project and ask for feedback or help from myself and from other students working on similar projects, so that you can all help and learn and grow in an environment. The assessment of this course will be practical and hands-on, by taking the lessons you learn and applying them to your very own research project. After the course is finished, it'll be written up as a report or a scientific paper, which will be worth 50% of the grade. This will be then presented to your class in the form of a poster, which is worth another 25% of the grade, and the remaining 25% being made up for effort and participation in class. The aim of this is to allow students to put theory into practice and develop a portfolio they can take with them into the future as evidence of the skills they've learned throughout this course. The aim of this course is to create the foundations of a scientific career by completing an end-to-end research project. We hope you understand the process of completing research from start to finish, understand how to design a fair and simple experiment to collect data, understand the different types of data that exist within the world and learn how to analyze them, achieve basic proficiency in computer programming across 4 different languages for data analysis, and learn how to write and present a scientific experiment in the form of a report and a poster. As well as these specific knowledge skills gained from studying this course, you will also develop many other transferable and work-related skills that are highly valued by employers and which will increase your employability. The skills you will develop include the ability to compile, analyze, and critically evaluate information, understand and make informed judgments about science-based issues, interpret, use, and evaluate data, put together reasoned arguments and question assumptions, conduct practical and investigative work and be aware of the risk assessment and health and safety regulations involved, be an effective communicator, work as part of a team and take on responsibility, manage your time, learn independently, and use data effectively. These skills translate directly into the job market with opportunities to work for government, private industry working in research and development as a data scientist, or kicking on to become a developer in IT and tech industry, transferring into higher education, or applying your trade in an NGO to really make a difference. This course is a foundation to help you go further and achieve your potential. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this demo class. I'll be taking any questions now.